but she texted me right after saying it's open, come inside. Then there was a knock at the window, which almost gave me a heart attack.
Damn. What'd she do? That's scary. My bad. Wait, did she just pull up at the window and shit and just knock on this? Like, the fuck? Don't be doing that. You know how late it is, bitch? Alright, motherfuckers, we back here. JayHonoviREACTS Season 6. Man, I'm about to just start doing this instead of doing it like this. I'm gonna just do it like this. JayHonoviREACTS Season 6, Illuminati confirmed. We got a little bit of a scary video, so we're gonna turn that down. But I still need the light so you can see me clear. We got 4. Count them. 4 creepy true. I can't even talk. 4 creepy true Uber stories. And after watching this, I might not take Uber that much. Oh, this is of course by Mr.Nightmare, who I haven't watched in about a year or so. Last time I watched Mr.Nightmare was when I was watching BHD religiously, and then Blasphemous HD kind of fell off and I stopped watching him as much. And he kind of like cleaned up his act on YouTube. He's not the same Blasphemous HD he used to be. You know what I'm saying? All his censorship shit and got to his head. And now it ain't the same no more. Now he's doing his Family Guy reactions. So, yeah, Family Guy and some other shit. But mostly Family Guy. Which I do have some Family Guy videos in my playlist. But anyway, without further ado, full screen this whole. There you go. Use of this narration audio. I fucked this up. Use of this narration audio for any projects including animation without permission is not allowed and will be pursued if necessary. I suck at doing accents. Re-uploading any of these videos to YouTube or other websites will be acted upon immediately. You ain't say shit about reactions though. You know what I'm saying? Reactions is different. Basically, we're reacting and we're promoting the video, giving you your recognition and your exposure. You know what I'm saying? And besides, I wanted to watch this shit with y'all anyway. So, let's go ahead and check this shit out. No, I'm not stealing nobody's fucking videos. So shut the hell up with that shit. Again, we promoting, not stealing. It's a difference. Reactions back in the day? Maybe. Because people used to just sit there like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the hell the name of that channel? Where they just sit like this the whole time? Reaction Tea Time. I think that's what it's called. That is the epitome of what reactions used to be back in 2014. Reactions now, we edit more. And we add a lot more extra shit to the video to make it seem like we actually got talent, because we do got fucking talent. You know what I'm saying? Reactions nowadays is different than how they used to be.
What you're about to hear was the worst night of my life. I went out to a downtown club with my boyfriend and his friends on a Saturday night.
That's your first mistake, going to a club. Late night. You take an Uber at 4 o'clock in the morning, you ain't making it home.
My boyfriend and I hadn't been getting along for a while, and at some point in the club, we had an argument. Damn. I didn't want to be there anymore, so I went outside and called an Uber to pick me up. It was raining that night, so I waited under the awning of a building nearby to the club. A white car pulled up in front of me and stopped. I walked over, and the woman driving rolled down the window. She said, "Uber?" And I said, "Yeah," and then her name. She said, "Yes." So I got in the back seat. I asked, "How are you?" And I'm pretty sure she didn't answer. When I didn't hear a response to my question, I shot a glance up from my phone for a second. The woman had both hands firmly planted on the steering wheel. She was driving in a very stiff, upright position. She also had very curly hair and a somewhat darker skin complexion. She was driving down the street I usually took to get home, only she was going the opposite way. I didn't want to speak up and correct her just yet, because maybe she was taking a different route. The further we went away from my house, though, the more concerned and frustrated I got. Finally, I spoke up and told her she was going the wrong way. She said in a horrible, thick accent, something about how she was going to the highway instead. I knew for a fact the highway wasn't the quicker route, though. Then, my phone vibrated, and I looked down to see the notification from Uber. It said on my screen, "Meet Uber driver now." I opened up the app, and it said my Uber had just arrived at the point I was originally standing at, and that the car I was supposed to get in was a black Nissan.
See? That's why I don't really trust Uber like that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't took Uber since, I don't even remember the last time I took Uber. But when I take Uber, I make sure it's the right car and the right guy. The right driver, I should say. Because it could be male, it could be female. Can't get in the car with just anybody. And I make sure I take Uber Pool so to, just to make sure I'm not the only motherfucker in there. There's pros and cons to Uber Pool. One of the cons is that they take their sweet ass time. They don't do first come, first serve. You know what I'm saying? If I got in the car first, sometimes I get dropped off last. That's tough.
At this point, I started saying in a louder voice to the driver that she wasn't my Uber. I asked her to pull over and let me out. And when she didn't seem to acknowledge me, I started to actually yell and push at her seat. Even though the car was moving, I even tried opening the door, but the child lock was apparently on. After a little more yelling, she finally looked at me through the mirror, then pulled off to the side. The door clicked unlocked, and I got out of the car and walked away from it. My actual Uber driver was calling me, and I picked up, apologizing, asking him to come to my current location. He said he'd be right over. 5 minutes later, the car pulled up. When I got in the car, I explained everything to him, and he stopped the car, looked at me, and told me I just escaped a sex trafficking trap. There had been reports of multiple fake Ubers going around trying to trick unsuspecting victims into getting into the car to lure them to unknown locations. It was apparently part of a sex trafficking ring, and the drivers were usually female to appear less intimidating to the female victims.
That's exactly why I don't trust that shit. Sex trafficking ring. But apparently they do that to only females. They're not going to have dudes sell sex. Because imagine a dude getting raped by a female. We see that as pleasure. That's why you don't see many cases of dudes getting raped by females. It's always the other way around. Female domination. I watch too much porn. And we're going to edit that out. Moving on. I'm just joking, by the way. I'm just joking. I don't even watch porn like that. I used to a lot, but not as much now. I'm not saying that I don't watch porn. I still watch it every now and then to learn some shit. You know what I'm saying? You can learn how to do different positions. You can learn how to pull out. You can learn how to last longer in bed without Bluetooth. It all comes full circle. You know what I'm saying? Porn is just as educational as it is inappropriate. Story number 2.
One night when I was decently drunk after leaving a bar, I started messaging people on Tinder. Some girl named Alicia had messaged me, so I messaged her back.
I don't trust Tinder at all. I matched with quite a few females on there. You know what I'm saying? I've been single for, it's going on 8 months now. I've been single for almost 8 months. Me and my ex broke up in March, and this was like a week and a half after I proposed to her, and she pretty much ended up selling the ring. Because the last time I seen her, she didn't have that shit on her finger after I proposed. Since we broke up, I've been single for about 8 months. I was depressed for 6 after the breakup. So I got on Tinder, created my profile, put my picture on there, and I started swiping away. Got a few matches. But the funny thing is, women on Tinder, especially black women, they all say the same shit. Not looking for anything serious. I'm just looking for a smoking buddy. Or they're looking for a best friend. What the fuck you on Tinder for? This is a dating app. Y'all trying to turn this into a friends app. Like, what the fuck? I recently deleted Tinder just because of that.
She answered almost immediately, asking what I was doing that night. I said I was just leaving a bar looking for someone to hang out with. She wrote back, "You should come over and smoke." I said, "Yeah, send me your address."
Exactly what I said. Exactly what I just said. They looking for smoking buddies. They ain't looking for no boyfriend or girlfriend. Probably going over there to get your ass raped. Pleasurely.
She sent back her address promptly.
Rape jokes are not funny. Rape jokes are never funny. I mean, when you're talking about dudes getting raped, then it's funny. And I'm talking about by females. A dude getting raped by another dude, that ain't funny at all. Just to clarify, females getting raped by men, not funny. Dudes getting raped by dudes, not funny. Dudes getting raped by females, that's funny. Because you don't know how they getting raped. That's just a story. That's just many stories to tell. Because she could just be jerking herself off with your dick and just pleasuring herself.
It seemed like the quickest, easiest, most ideal Tinder match a guy could ask for on a Saturday night. I called for an Uber to drop me off at that address. The driver pulled up in his Honda, and I got in the front seat. Usually I would get in the back seat, but I was decently drunk and feeling extra social. The driver seemed cool. I was honest with him about where I was going, telling him I was about to meet a girl from Tinder. He laughed and said nice, and started going on about his stories meeting girls as an Uber driver and such. On the way there, I asked Alicia for her number, and she gave it to me. I started texting her, and she gave normal answers. When we got to the house, the driver said the house seemed familiar to him. Had to admit it did look a little sketchy since there were no cars in the driveway and the lights were off. He told me to be careful. I thanked him and said goodbye, and he drove away down the block and stopped near the end, I'm guessing setting up his next ride. I walked up to the house and tried to ring the bell, but I didn't hear a bell from the inside, so I knocked on the door.
Nigga, you just pulled up to a trap house. You know what I'm saying? And also had a missed opportunity for the guy getting raped by a female. If a guy get raped by a female, obviously you're going to feel like goddamn Beavis and Butthead. You know what I'm saying? All you're going to think is, ugh, did I just score? I should have said that, but it was a missed opportunity. That's obviously not going into the next montage. I fucked that up real bad.
Then I tried calling Alicia. It went to voicemail after one ring, but she texted me right after saying it's open, come inside. Then there was a knock at the window, which almost gave me a heart attack.
Damn. What'd she do? That's scary. My bad. Wait, did she just pull up at the window and shit and just knock on this? Like, the fuck? Don't be doing that. You know how late it is, bitch? I'm gonna big booted the shit out that window. Don't make me Undertaker your ass. Choke slam your ass to that couch.
And even though there were no lights on inside, I saw the blind was slightly lifted, and someone was waving their hand on the other side of the window. Before I tried the door, a number not saved on my phone started calling me. I assumed it was Alicia, so I picked up.
Shit. You know how many unknown numbers I get phone calls from? Don't ever answer those calls. Because more than likely a bill collector or just some random ass scam artist. Or an employment specialist. Don't answer them calls. Yeah, don't answer calls from employment specialists. They're not really employment specialists. You know what they really are, because I get calls from these fools all the time. They say, hi, my name is Rebecca, calling on a recorded line. I'm an employment specialist. Yada, yada, yada. I'm like, bitch, you ain't no fucking employment specialist. Maybe you are, maybe you're not, but you just asking for my damn information. If you call on my phone, obviously you have my information. The moment they ask for my information, that's how I know they fucking lying. These employment specialists think they slick. Scamming ass bitches. Maybe they don't got it. I don't know. But they do got my phone number and my email. But hopefully they don't got my home address. Because then that'd be a problem. Might have to get their ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? I'll box your ass. You can fucked up on that front step. Leave your ass leaking and call an ambulance for your ass. At least I'm polite.
But instead of hearing the voice of a girl, I heard the familiar voice of my Uber driver. He ordered me in a very concerned voice to walk away from the house right now. I then saw the Uber driver's car pull back up in front of the house. He told me to get back in the car. I hung up the phone and listened to him. As soon as I got in the car, he drove away from the house and told me that the house was vacant. In just the previous month, someone had been lured into that house, robbed, and murdered.
Damn.
It was a story that likely could have been similar to my own had I stepped into that house.
How did I guess that? I said it was probably a ghost or something. And it actually was. It was a fucking ghost. Damn. Damn. Damn, son. So I got my own ghost story to tell later this month. Be on the lookout for that.
It was a lot for me to take in, but I thanked that Uber driver the best I could, and even took his number because he was so cool and I couldn't appreciate him enough. The next morning when I was sober, this was even more disturbing to think about. It was a Monday night, a slower night for an Uber driver, especially in our bum-ass town. So when a trip request popped up on my screen, I jumped on it. I was picking up a guy named John. I drove across the neighborhood to a corner liquor store that was closed at this hour. There were two young guys waiting on the corner, and when I pulled up to the curb, they got in the car. I confirmed John's name to make sure he was who I was picking up. Then I started heading to their destination.
Oh, shit. So this is the Uber driver's perspective now. Let me guess. They robbed your ass. I'm just guessing. You can't pick up just anybody. You know what I'm saying? You pick up somebody, that's what I'm scared to do, Uber. You know what I'm saying? It's easy money at the end of the day, but, you know, you pick up somebody that you don't know, you can't trust it. Because next thing you know, you get to their destination, you're going to end up with a fucking gun in your head. And what you going to do then outside of shit your pants?
The two whispered to each other, and it was a little odd. I looked at the rearview mirror every once in a while, and every time I did, they would both notice and look back at me. I kept trying not to look, but I found myself accidentally doing it over and over. I asked them where they were headed. Neither of them answered. I figured they didn't hear me because the back window was open and there was wind noise. So I asked again. This time one of them yelled Harris Avenue. It didn't answer the main point of my question, which was to be polite and make small talk, but it did let me know these two were not exactly people I wanted in my car. I felt my big toe press a bit harder on the gas instinctively, just knowing I wanted to get there sooner.
Okay, this sounds like some race shit. You know what I'm saying? Harris Avenue, that sounds like a predominantly black neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? It sounds like a white guy who was driving the car and two random black guys in the back seat. That's what this shit sound like. I'm getting race vibes on this one. Because white people do be uncomfortable around black people sometimes, so that's where I got that from.
To the street, but the apparent address they wanted me to pull up to was some rundown storefront with a group of guys in front.
Exactly. Predominantly black neighborhood. A bunch of niggas just hanging out. Yeah.
I slowed down and asked if this was it. I turned around to face them, and saw they were both wearing masks now, similar to the masks from the movie The Purge. I felt something press up against the back of my shoulder. I assumed it was a gun. They told me pull up to where the guys were outside.
Y'all catch an Uber to do a drive-by, nigga? Oh, hell no. I kind of guessed it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I kind of guessed it. That is fucked up. Watch that be what it is.
I did so, and three big guys also wearing masks came up to my window, demanding my wallet.
Oh, he did get robbed. Damn. Well, see, I knew this shit was gonna happen before the story even came about.
I gave it to them without hesitation, and the two guys in the back seat got out. The five masked men all together walked away from my car, one of them kicking at my door while passing. I drove away and reported it to Uber, who said they'd get in contact with the authorities. It turned out the info used on that John person's account was all fake, and he was using a stolen credit card. I lost $250, my IDs, and countless cards in my wallet, but I'm just happy I escaped with my life.
Yeah, I had a feeling his ass was gonna get robbed. Hopefully he canceled them damn cards. I don't know how anybody can use a stolen credit card. You know, with a credit card, when you use your card, sometimes you gotta use the PIN number. You try going to a gas station and buying a pack of Newport cigarettes and a honey bun and a bag of Doritos and a brisk iced tea, and try to scan that damn card and they ask you for your PIN number. You're gonna be fucked in that situation. You be like, you know what? I'm good. You can just keep all that shit. I'm out this bitch. They gonna know. Oh, you stole that credit card. Last story.
After leaving a friend's Super Bowl party, I called an Uber to drive me home. When I got in the Uber, there was a guy in a baseball hat sitting in the back seat. I didn't say anything to acknowledge it. I just said hi to the driver. I figured I must have called an Uber pool instead of just a regular Uber. I didn't care though. We got to my house, I got out of the car and shut the door. I heard a second door shut on the other side though. When the car drove away, I saw the guy who had been sitting next to me in the baseball hat, standing in the street, facing in my direction, but his head down so that his hat was covering his face. I said, "What's up? What's going on?" He started to walk away. Still, I knew something was going on. So instead of walking to my house, I started walking around the block. I saw the man on the opposite sidewalk across the street walking in my same direction. When there was an intersection in the street, I turned. When I saw he did the same thing, I ran.
Well, I remember that. That reminded me of that one Twitch video where dude was getting followed. Oh my goodness, I remember that video. I forget the name of him, but he was getting followed the whole time. When he turned the corner and dude turned the corner, that was some scary shit. You know what I'm saying? That was some scary shit. Imagine that.
So he started to run too. The adrenaline kicked in, and I sprinted faster than I'd ever ran in my life.
Like Usain Bolt? I shouldn't be making jokes.
I ran faster than him, and when I made it to my house, I ran to the backyard before he could possibly see where I went. Then I went into the house. I called the Uber driver at once, and he told me the guy next to me said he knew the next guy the Uber driver would be picking up, which ended up being me. The driver had his info, so he said he would report the guy. I don't know what happened because I never called or texted the Uber driver again. I also don't know why exactly that guy would be targeting people getting out of Ubers, but it definitely taught me to be more cautious with Uber rides.
Yeah, that makes me think about Uber pool now. I'd rather just catch an Uber by myself, but I ain't taking Uber XL though. I tell you that much. Shit. That was disturbing, to say the least. And this video is almost 30 minutes, as you just seen. We at almost 27 minutes. This video is long as shit because I keep pausing it. You should ask your Uber driver, what is your name? Not, is your name Bob? Because they can say yes. God damn. 2000, don't get into strangers' cars. 2015, literally calling strangers to get in their car. Boy, have the times changed. Uber safety tips. Always check the license plate of the vehicle you're about to get into. If it doesn't match it, I should start doing that. If it does not match the license plate on the app, do not get in the fucking car. You should have added fucking to that sentence, bro. Or, sorry, baby girl. I didn't realize that was a female and her name was Jessica. God damn, you fine as hell. Oh my god. I'm too broke to afford Uber, man. Do some more, or do some public transit. Oh my god. Public transit horror stories. Yeah, Metro is even worse when it comes to the horror stories. You could easily be followed by some dude on the train. I've seen a video on, I believe it was, I don't know if it was Slaptam or Niggas Top 5, but they had this one clip where this dude was just getting followed every single day by the same guy. And he was like, I just want to be friends. I just want to be friends. Like, fucking stalking them because you want to be friends. Like, come on now. That's some scary shit, though. I ain't gonna lie. Just weird-ass people like that. Don't let them niggas in your life. Strip club horror stories. Hey, I got a strip club horror story. It's on the channel if you haven't seen it. I might end up telling it again because there's some stuff that I left out. I did talk about the part where the chocolate stripper got naked, like butt, booty, ass naked, took the bra, took the G-string off and everything, and had a whole pussy in my face. The one thing that I left out is the fact that her clit looked like a dickhead. So, yeah, I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to head out. You know what I'm saying? I left that part out of the video for her sake. But, yeah, I can't fuck with no females that got the clit dickhead. You know what I'm saying? Because it made me think of some other shit. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'll see you. I just read this comment right here. Me as a child checks under bed for monsters. Me as a teenager checks under the bed for murder. I mean, that's true, though. I can't even laugh at that. That's actually true. Have you seen the movie When the Stranger Calls? Exactly. With that said, I'm out, man. Peace. Fuck Donald Trump. Toodles!
Damn, son.
Bye, have a great time.